What? Can't hear you. Can't hear you. My dear old great Uncle Leland, my grandpa's brother. Why I tell these stories, I hope you don't mind if I every second or, I mean, every now and then for a second I grab some of these on sale. These Reese's Pieces, they're pretty good. Hope you don't mind me snacking. I won't talk with my mouth full. But Stearns Co. Lumber Company. Stearns Co. and Lumber Company in McCreary County, Kentucky. I don't know how true the story is, so if I'm telling it right. Apparently now they were both good plumbers, Grandpa and Leland. I think Leland was younger. And Grandpa worked for the Stearns Co. Lumber Company, and when World War II broke out, I think the Stearns Co. Lumber Company went to the draft board, Selective Service, and begged them not to take Grandpa because he was just an amazing plumber, and they needed him. It was just, we're just fresh out of the Great Depression, and we need him bad. And if that story's true, the draft board agreed with the company, so they took my Uncle Leland instead. And he shot those anti-aircraft guns in World War II, and it deafened him. We need to go visit him and my Aunt Pearl, his wife. While he was busy hugging Aunt Pearl at the door, he was so busy bringing lunch meat, bread, everything out of the refrigerator, putting on the table. Him and Grandpa, was orphaned, had a miserable life. They starved, and basically they just declared all-out war on hunger. Every time you go visit him, he would open that refrigerator door and set every lettuce. I mean, you name it, he had that. He didn't cook. It was just that I always thought of my great Uncle Leland as a snack master. Lunch meat, cheese, tomatoes big as, bigger than softballs. I mean, huge. He had the prettiest tomatoes. And he also got awards for the best lawn in Stearns, Kentucky. I don't know how many years in a row he won that award. I don't know the name of the award, but he won it for the best looking. He may have won it for all McCreary County. I'm not sure. Some of my family clarified me on that. Either won it for the town of Stearns, or he won for the best looking lawn in McCreary County, Kentucky. I think it was for Stearns, Kentucky. But when he passed away in I think 83 or 84, my Aunt Pearl wanted an autopsy done, and the coroner called her on the phone. And he said, how many years did Leland, during the autopsy, he said, how many years did Leland work in the coal mines? And Pearl had a different way about her. She's on the phone. He never stepped foot in the coal mines. The coroner told her, well, his lungs are jet black. Well, she said he smoked cigars his entire life. But look at George Burns, the comedian actor. He smoked cigars and he lived to be 100. Here, my Uncle Leland's dead, and I think he's in the 70s. My Uncle Leland's dead in the 70s. So that proves it's genetic when you're born. Either you got it, your immune system, or you don't. Yeah, George Burns lives to be 100 and he's still smoking cigars. My great Uncle Leland passes away. And the coroner did contribute that, obviously for lack of oxygen, for his heart attack. He was down in the basement working on a baby crib for the neighbor. It was hot down there, and he comes up in the air-conditioned house. And I think his last words to my Aunt Pearl was, his wife, he's in the bedroom and they had a real pretty, nice mirror there. He looks in the mirror like I'm looking to this camera lens, and he says, and I quote, "Oh my God, Pearl, I'm as white as a sheet." Well, the ambulance was on its way. Now, this is before the days of enhanced 911. They apparently took either the one block short or the road. I don't think it's quite a block. It was the road before his. They got mixed up on the address. The ambulance took 10 minutes down there looking for the wrong address. The ambulance took 10 minutes down there and 10 minutes back. That's 20 minutes total, and they think it cost my great Uncle Leland his life. You know, just one of those things. They got the address wrong somehow, and he passed away. You know, my dad says you wouldn't like him when he first woke up. He was a bear. And my dad takes after my great Uncle Leland. My dad, oh my God, when he first wakes up, I think I'd rather have the devil at my door, to be honest about it. It takes 2 hours for my dad to wake up. And before that 2 hours is up, you don't want to talk to him. My great Uncle Leland was the same way. Now, I wasn't around him when he first woke up. No, my dad grew up and closer to him. And my grandpa, my dad's dad, ran a garage there in Pine Knot, Kentucky, about 5 miles due, I think it's due east of Pine Knot, Kentucky, McCreary County. By the way, that building's still there. Yeah, I barely remember when I was a baby. I remember getting pop out of the pop machine, vending machine. But you know, they ran a little sold gas, a little convenience store and service station. And one time, I think my dad says they made, in the 50s, they made about $100 a week, which would be equivalent to about $1,000 a day. Of course, 7 kids, do the math. That's why Grandma canned 500 quarts a year tomatoes. She's a big canner. It had to be. Anyway, that place was in a paper about 15 years ago for sale for $160,000. But anyway, when my grandpa would need help in the garage, he'd tell my dad, Woody, Dad's name, go up there and get Uncle Leland. And my dad hated that. Went up to Pearl and Leland's, knock on that door 2 or 3 or 4 times. You could hear my Uncle Leland cussing as he woke up. Pearl, who is it? Pearl would answer the door. It's Woody. Lolan, my grandpa, needs you down at the garage. Dad said he'd come. You can tell he's in the military. Coming out the door, scratching his head. What the blankety blank does he want? Dad says, well, he needs you down in the garage. You need some help on a car or something. And when Grandpa would go, or when my great Uncle Leland would go and get him, Dad would take off. You know, he tired of hearing him. Anyway, when my great Uncle Leland would walk through the house to get his coat, Dad said you could hear him cussing all the way through the house. That blankety blank, what's it take to get any sleep around here? Being dead. After about 2 hours went by, he got real mellow, and that's from fighting in war. You know, when you're in a battle for 4 years, you don't get no sleep. Ask any veteran. And he didn't, you know. But Dad said he always scratched that head. And my dad, his brothers, Clifton, Uncle Junior, Pete. I don't know how Pete was old enough. And well, probably was, but they used to go and hide in the bushes outside my Uncle Leland and Aunt Pearl's house and listen to them fight all the time. Yeah, they used to fight all the time. And I've seen an episode on Andy Griffith where, remember, he's trying to get that man and woman to quit fighting, and he fails, and he tells Opie that's just their way of dancing. So my great Uncle Leland and Aunt Pearl, they didn't hate each other. They just argued. That was their way of dancing. But they said it was so much fun to listen to them argue. You know, there's teenagers then, and you know anything's fun to a teenager. But boy, they used to. Dad said my great Uncle Leland and Aunt Pearl used to fight. Oh my God, throw dishes. But they never, as far as I know, they lived at the ripe old age. And I don't think my great Uncle Leland, I don't think they could have lived without each other. To be honest about it, my great Uncle Leland and Aunt Pearl were wonderful people. They really was. They made you feel welcome. And my Aunt Pearl passed away a few years ago. But you couldn't meet no finer folks. You really couldn't. And I'm not just saying that because they was relative. They was true people. They was as kind-hearted as you can get. And I miss them both.